Hey there, y'all, and welcome back to the kitchen. We are going to continue with our holiday appetizers today. I've got three more delicious ones for you. We're going to start off first with some barbecue chicken sliders. This is a dish that I got from making one up on the fly for a good friend of mine several years back during Thanksgiving. She wanted to know what something shortcut she could bring after she got home from work, really with like a quick turnaround to get to a party. And I came up with this on the fly, and this is a little riff on it. She has made this so many times since then. She almost always texts me, I'm making it again, I'm making it again. So this time I'm going to even shortcut it more. When I taught it to her, I just told her to get a rotisserie chicken shredded and do it that way. But we're going to do something even more shortcut. I've got some really good quality chicken nuggets here, and I am going to bake them off, chop them up, and you would be so surprised what wonderful extra flavor that crust on that chicken adds to our slider. So that's what I'm going to do first. We're going to get some cooking spray on our pan. Really simply, my oven's at 400 degrees, and we're going to bake off these little chicken nuggets. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I do this from scratch very often, but like I said, shortcut way is the way we're going to do it this holiday season to help everybody out. So I'm going to get a good little layer of these chicken nuggets on my tray. We're making 12 sliders here. You could always double this, just fill the tray all the way up. And I'm going to just simply take my cooking spray, and obviously I want to help them out just a little bit. I'm spray the top and get some seasoning salt on the top. That's all you have to do. We're going to end up chopping these up so they go into our rolls a little bit like a chicken salad consistency almost. But like I said, what this extra little bit of crust does for the flavor of this dish is amazing. So these need to get started first in the oven so they can get ready to be tossed in some barbecue sauce here in a few minutes. Now, the next thing I want to do is I want to show you a trick for grating cheese that I want to save you more dishes. And I really thought of this just a little while back, a few months ago, when I would get out a plate or my cutting board or whatever to grate cheese. I would always have to clean the plate or the cutting board. Well, if you put down a paper towel or a piece of parchment, you don't have to wash the surface, and it is a lot more pliable to pick up and move and put it wherever it's going. So I'm going to talk to you while I grate some cheese. You know, shortcut route, you always can buy pre-grated cheese. But I'm just going to go ahead and grate all the cheese that we're going to need for all three dishes across the board, and we'll be good to go. The only reason I usually just grate my cheese ahead of time instead of buying the pre-shredded cheese, because you can meal prep your cheese and just grate it ahead of time, is they sometimes have a coating on the outside of those shredded cheese with some of the brands that I don't love what's in that to keep them separated inside the bag. So just for the sake of getting the best quality cheese, this is what we're going to do. So come out of the grater, little buddy. That's my cheddar all grated up. I've got a little bowl here. We're going to get it in a bowl. Hopefully the bowl is big enough. I guessed the bowl before I grated the cheese, but I think we're going to be all right. It's going to be all right. Okay, that's some sharp cheddar. We're going to put that into our sliders, and it's going to be super, super yummy. And then we're going to get some mozzarella cheese. This is going to go into our Christmas salad. These are our dishes for today. We've got barbecue chicken sliders, some Christmas tostada nachos, as well as what I call Christmas salad. Everything's going to be so festive and beautiful. I can't wait for you to make it and taste it and see how good it looks on your buffet. So I'm doing mozzarella. So what I'm going to do is the mozzarella is going to go in the Christmas salad, and then a combination of these cheeses is going to go on top of our tostada nachos to give a really good cheesy flavor. This gives a good cheesy pull, as my girls talk about all the time. They're really focused on that cheese pull. If they've got a grilled cheese sandwich or a piece of pizza and the cheese pull doesn't happen, they're like, Mommy, I need it warmed up. There's no cheesy pull. Well, I've got my girls in mind. This is for that cheesy pull. The cheddar just packs that great cheese flavor that we all know and love. I'm going to actually probably forgo putting that in this bowl and put it in the bigger bowl that my cheese started in, because I wasn't thinking about the quantity when I picked these little matchy bowls. I think this is about 6 ounces of cheddar, and I'm going with a whole 8 of mozzarella because it's going to be a little bit more prevalent in our salad. Okay, We're almost there, home stretch. For the salad, you could also chunk this up and just cut it into cubes, or you could even use feta and chunk that up. That's a little more of a heavy flavor in a bite that I really actually love, but my family members, a few of them are picky about the feta thing. So we go mozzarella in our house for that white cheese. You could also use Monterey Jack cheese. Now, here we go. Come out of there. The goal for our Christmas salad is just like it says, it's going to look like Christmas. Oh, that's a lot of cheese, but we're done. And that didn't take too long. Okay, into my bowl we go. And next order of business. So for my sliders, we're going to need to make a little bit of barbecue sauce. And I mean make some barbecue sauce. My sliders are going to get a little bit tossed in some just regular barbecue sauce, but can I ever leave well enough alone? No. I love to have a little zhuzhed up flavor in my barbecue sauce that comes in a bottle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my little bowl and I'm going to make my barbecue sauce sing. It's going to take a little uptick in the zing department is what it's going to get. So I'm going to go in with about a cup of this barbecue sauce. And a lot of our ingredients today, quite a few of them, are double duty ingredients. And I love to do that. So if I'm getting out some stuff, I can use it for more than one dish. That's going to save me some time. I'm going to put in about a teaspoon of garlic. Then I'm going to go in with a little bit of stone ground mustard. You can use yellow here too, but like I said, we're going to double duty some of these things, and the stone ground is going to go into our salad dressing. I'm going to do a tablespoon of mustard, and then a generous splash, like 2 good tablespoons of some red wine vinegar. And any vinegar you have on hand works just fine. And then I'm going to get this mixed up with just a little fork, and it's ready to go for us. The reason that I love to zhuzh up my barbecue sauce from the grocery store is, to be honest, I'm a Carolina girl at heart. So I have a hard time with these thick, sweet barbecue sauces that don't pack any kind of zing in them. So I add a little vinegar, I add a little mustard, and sometimes I even add hot sauce and soy sauce into ours if I'm doing barbecue chicken. That's just the FYI. You don't have to do that step, but why wouldn't you? Okay, so the next thing that we're going to start on is our tostada nacho base. It's one of the only things that's going to get cooked on the stovetop, so we're going to start with that. I've just got some refried beans, and I've also got some diced green chilies. These guys are going to get put together and just make each other better, if you will. The green is going to be a nice fleck of color in our beans. The nachos are going to start with a base of refried beans, and we're going to put some cheese on top of them, and then we're going to make them Christmas on top. They're going to have green lettuce, green jalapenos, red tomatoes, and really look so festive on my pretty platter that we're going to use. I'm just going to take a chance to season these a little extra. I'm going to put in some garlic powder in a minute, a little extra salt, and then they do require a little bit of loosening up, in my opinion, so a little bit of water is going to go in here. Get my chilies in. If you don't keep diced green chilies on hand in your pantry, that's something I would highly recommend you start doing. I use those diced green chilies in so many dishes. They just pack a punch of flavor that you won't get from almost anything else that's that simple. They have a tanginess in the background to them. Very, very flavorful, that little ingredient that you can keep on hand just in your pantry. A lot of times your pantry ingredients can become dinner if you know what you're doing without a lot of effort. And that's one of the things that I always teach people when I start teaching them how to cook. I say, what's your pantry like? How's your pantry stocked? And it really matters whether you are prepared for dinner or not based on what's in your pantry. And that's why long ago when I first started my cooking school, I came up with a pantry staple guide. I use it myself. I keep it in my pantry, and it's a list where you just keep on hand these basic ingredients that help you get your dinner on the table easier because you know you have a stocked pantry. That was about 1/4 of a cup of water I put in there. And I put it on about medium heat so it can just start getting happy and all work together. But if you have a stock pantry, all you have to do is grab a protein and a couple of fresh ingredients, and you're good to go with dinner without the stress. And that's why I created the Pantry Staple Guide a long time ago. I actually will put the link in the description if you want to pick that up. You can download it and keep it on your phone, or you can even print it off and have it on the wall in your pantry like I have it on the wall in mine. Okay, I'm going to put in about a teaspoon of seasoning salt here. You don't want to go too heavy on the salt because it is already a little bit seasoned in the can, unless you get no salt out added, and then you can control that seasoning for yourself. Put in a little bit of garlic powder, a teaspoon of garlic powder, and then a teaspoon of onion powder. And these beans are going to be delicious. You could eat these beside a taco just fine the way they are. Or you could put them right inside a burrito and have a really flavorful burrito base. All right. Now that that's going, we are going to get some onions cooking. Now we're going to chop double duty on our onions real quick while I've got it out and the board is all oniony, because we're going to put some caramelized onions on top of our sliders, and then we're going to have onions going in our salad. So we're going to go ahead and do double duty on my onions while I'm getting to work. Now, get this over here. You see that I have my brick of butter. We are going to use a little butter for our onions, but we're not going crazy with the butter today. I just like to have my butter by the brick instead of by the stick. That should be a Mama Witten's kitchen phrase. I like my butter by the brick instead of by the stick. I might need to coin that. Okay, so let's get this over here, and we are going to get some onions ready to chop. Now we're also going to double duty on our tomatoes here in a second too, because tomatoes are going to go both in our salad and in our sliders. Our salad and our nachos as well. They're just beautiful on top of this, and it makes it look like Christmas time. All right, so I'm going to get my sharp knife. I also link this in the description too if you want to pick it up. It's actually it's a knife set, and it's $30 for two really good knives that are high quality but affordable. It's got covers like this, and I just love that. Both for travel, because I do travel with my knife, because I go on vacation. I don't know what we're going to be working with in the house that we rent or whatever, and I want to be able to cook. So if you're weird and you travel like me with your knives, it's good to have a cover. But it's also good if you have a really sharp knife to have a cover on it if you have little ones grabbing into the drawers to get things, and it can protect their hands. My husband has been wanting to get me one of those magnets where you hang your knives up against the wall. But I just feel like our girls are a little bit too young and could climb up, and it's just obviously out there ready for them to grab without them needing to grab. Okay, so I'll get my onions going. I've got my garbage bowl here. If you're not used to being here and this is one of your first episodes, I always keep a garbage bowl on hand so I'm not making a million trips to the garbage can. So that's why everything's going into that little bowl over there. So I'm going to just slice my onions through like this. And this first onion is going to go down for our sliders and be absolutely delicious. And I'm going to take the smaller half of this onion because I didn't quite cut it evenly. It happens. And I'm going to actually go through and dice it. This is going to get topped on top of our nachos as well. So we're actually triple duty in the onion today. The thing I love about holiday appetizers is it's like literally the most exciting part of the buffet, because you can get flavors from all over the place in one little buffet section. So I think that might be selfishly the reason I chose to do appetizers for the holidays this year, because it's just my favorite part. Like at my husband's family gathering, we always start with the appetizers, and by the time the real food, the ham and all that comes out, everybody's kind of like, well, we're full now. Okay, so my onions are done for my, let's see, I'll get this in, for my sliders. So I'm going to get them into a pan and move my garbage bowl a little bit. I'm going to get them into a pan with just a little bit of butter. If you're measuring butter in the holiday season too strictly, I worry about you. So we're going to go in with about 3 or 4 tablespoons of butter. I'm just going to slice this brick a little bit. And if you get a brick of butter like I do, you can cut it into sticks. It's easy just to bang it out into stick portions so you can measure it a little bit easier. But I'm used to dealing with a brick of butter. What can I say? Okay, and I'm going to put my heat over medium heat. We're only doing 12 sliders, so that's why there's half an onion. If you're going to do 24 sliders, use a whole onion at this point. So my half onion is going in right here. I'm going to get a little bowl for my other onions. They're going to go on top of my tostadas and into my salad. All right. Onions done. Now, I did say recently in a lesson, I can't remember if it was for my mamas on my shortcut suppers or if it was in my live class that I teach every week. If you chop an onion, after you're finished, clean your cutting board or flip it over and clean your knife. Because anytime that you do that, that onion juice is going to remain on your board and keep you a little teary-eyed for no reason whatsoever. So if you just take a moment to clean that spot of your board, or like I said, just flip it over, up to you what you want to do with that, it'll be a lot easier too. And I'm going to move them away from my eyeballs too. Now, my onions right here need a little bit of seasoning. I'm just going to put some steak seasoning in there. I love doing steak seasoning when I caramelize onions because everything's in here. But if you want to go from just your own jars, you can put in garlic, onion, salt, and pepper, and that'll be perfect. I did a tablespoon of steak seasoning and a few tablespoons of butter with my onions. I turned my refried beans down. I'm going to go ahead and turn them off because they did exactly what they need to do. And I'm going to check my chicken. If it's good to go and it's getting very close, we'll be ready to build these sliders and we'll be right back. Okay, y'all, our chicken is done. I'm going to get it out and I'm going to turn the heat down on my onions just a little bit. They're getting really, really close. And I'm going to go ahead and chop my chicken. That's right. I'm going to chop this up. Think the consistency of chicken salad almost. That's what we want here. I'm going to get my onions off the heat. They look really good. I'm going to toss them around just a little bit. Good, pretty brown flavor. And when I say brown flavor, I mean it. Brown food tastes good. Okay, so my chicken is going to get chopped. And I'm going to go ahead and put it onto my board. And we're just going to rough chop this with our knife like you just would any other kind of chicken. And then I want to show you how to chop your slider rolls. Now, when we chop slider rolls, I'm going to use this again in a little bit. So I'm going to keep it right here. That's another tip right there. I used foil on that because, like I said, less dishes the better. We're going to put some tostadas in the oven in a minute. I'm going to refoil that pan and it's going to be ready to go without me having to wash a dish. So I've got my chicken ready to go. And we're going to just chop it up. Now, this is, like I said, 12 sliders is what I'm doing here. There may be enough for me to taste a little bite of chicken in a minute. Who knows? We'll see. But we're going to just make sure these are full and ooey gooey and just absolutely delicious. Anytime that you are slicing bread, this is not going to be the knife for you. So I've got a serrated knife that I'm going to use for that. And this is what a serrated knife means. I went ahead and got that out. This edge right here is what you need to chop through or slice through bread. So not often that I go with a secondary knife, but today that actually is necessary. So I'm just chopping through my chicken. Looks so yummy, y'all. And it's okay to have a few bigger chunks. Like I said, this is already nuggets. So we just want it to get really good and easy to eat in bite size. And we want that barbecue sauce to be able to soak in there. All right, so my sliders, and there's a funny story with this. So growing up, you can buy slider buns that are already in slices. But growing up, my mom always used to make these ham sandwiches, and we'd get these kind of rolls. And she would just slice through in one fell swoop, and it would be inevitably every single time perfectly even top and bottom. Well, when I started cooking, I was like, I can do this. And sure enough, I sliced through and one of my sides was wonky and it was about this thin. And I was like, wait a second, that's harder than it looks. So just FYI, you're going to put your hand on top. We're going to put the bottom back into our pan, fill these up, and then put our tops on. If it falls apart a little bit, it's okay. But just so you know, I struggled in the beginning too. So I'm going to put my hand down and take my time. And your serrated knife is going to help you. Just go all the way through your rolls. Keeping an eye and not getting in a hurry is always going to help you in this scenario. I think I'm going to turn it, get the other side, got all the way through that one maybe. Sliders are absolutely perfect appetizer because you just get a taste of what you want to be eating without filling all the way up, so you can do a lot of different things. But I like to keep them on hand at our house often because my little ones just want a sandwich, not a sandwich, and it's just perfect for that. So I'm going to get my, come over here, scoot this all over just a little bit, get my rolls in here. There you go, friends. Get my tops off, and I did pretty good. I did them in 2 sections instead of 1, but it's better than the way I started long ago. So I'm going to get my sections off, and then the first thing that's going to go down on the bottom is my cheese, my cheddar cheese. Now, I love sharp cheddar, but you can choose whatever cheese that you want to. And the reason that I'm doing this is just because it gives a little bit of stability to the slider itself to have the cheese layer on the bottom. We're going to go cheese, chicken, sauce, and onions. And you can even add a pickle in here too if you wanted to. That might be something I do next time. I just thought of that sitting here talking to you. Okay, chicken. I'm going to actually use my knife to get my chicken on. And the cheese is going to actually help your chicken stay in your sandwich when you cut them apart later. It's like glue, cheese glue. Smells so good in here, y'all. Perks of being the cook. I had to check it and make sure it was good for everybody. That extra seasoning salt that we put on there really does make any chicken tender good. I just would always get like whole breast meat, not the chopped up chicken tenders for this. Good quality ones. Okay, those going on. And then we're going to go over with our barbecue sauce. We may not end up using all of this, but you can keep it on hand for anything that you have later. But I'm going to probably use most of it just because I like it to be nice and flavorful and saucy. And yeah, I'm going to use it all. Go ahead, friend. All right, good job. And then I'm going to go in with some onions. Now my onions are softened, but they have a little bit of brown to them because I do like that caramelized brown flavor. So if you see the color on these, I'll show you. That's what you're going for. That's absolutely delicious with your chicken and your barbecue sauce. Come over here, little guy. Just evenly distribute this. A little goes a long way in the onion department. Here we go. We don't want to do too much onions because they can add a sweetness to the dish, and we already have that barbecue sauce in there with a little sweetness to it. So half an onion for 12 sliders is exactly what we need. I'm going to put this back here out of my way. And then, just because I can, a little tiny bit of cheese glue on top. And we're going to be ready to go in the oven. Now, for this, my oven is still set at 400 degrees. I am fine with that temperature, but I also feel the need to cover this so the tops don't get too crispy. Just a FYI, this is just going to melt the cheese and get everybody married inside here. So I'm going to grab some foil real quick. Okay, we're going to get these covered in foil, and they're just going to need to go for about 15 minutes max, and they're going to be ooey gooey, melty, and delicious. Okay, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to work on our tostadas because they've got to go into the oven for a few minutes too. So the thing I told you we were going to do earlier is get rid of this foil and start again. I'm going to wipe down my board real quick though before I move on. I do like to do a little tidying as I go so it's not quite the monumental task at the end of everything. I do love though when all my big boys are home, I almost never have to do any dishes. That is one thing. I miss them for so many reasons when they're not all here with me. But when they're all in the house, it's like having a cleaning crew and they just take care of their mama. I'm ready for that. They'll be Everybody will be here soon. We're losing our college student for a couple weeks because he's going to see his family, but we have our oldest here, and then next week we'll have our youngest here, and then our college kid will be back just after Christmas, and I get a good couple of weeks with all three boys in the house. So I'm really going to have some help at that point. Be one happy mama with all 5 of the kids home. Okay, so this is going in the garbage, and I'm going to get another little bit of foil on here. I don't pull my foil out, y'all, because I do cook so much and cater so much. It is a giant restaurant size foil roll. I can hold it up for you to see, but this is the kind of aluminum foil I come with. So I don't stick it on the counter because it'd take up the whole space. We've got so many things that I cook for, and when you're catering, you use a lot of tin foil, a lot of aluminum pans. So thankful to have an unlimited supply, especially this time of year. Now I'm going to get a little cooking spray down on here, and we're going to build some tostadas. This is a riff on something that my husband fell in love with in a restaurant that we went to and frequented early in our marriage. I think they have since closed, but both my husband and my boys absolutely love this. And I said, well, I'm going to have to figure out how to make it at home then. These are tostadas. You can find them just where your tortillas are. Think taco shell, but flat. So we're going to get these. They're circular, but we're going to actually end up slicing them once we get the beans on them and get them cooked, to put them on our tray for beautiful presentation. So I'm just going to make them whole and then slice them when they're finished. I'm going to lay out 6 tostadas. We probably will have a little extra beans. That'd be perfect for lunch tomorrow. And we're going to get those on the tray. Now, my beans are nice and yummy looking. Those green chilies in there are going to pack such a yummy punch. And we just take it, and it's like icing a cake. But it's refried beans, which I'll let you in on a little secret about me. Get to know Mama Whitten. I am much more of a savory person than a sweet. So if you ask me, preferably, what do I like to eat? What do I like to bring places? I'm going to tell you, for the most part, savory every single time. I have, over the years, perfected several sweet dishes that my family loves. I do a coffee cake. I do trifles. I have brownies and cookies that I make. Several things that I just don't even have to look at a recipe for anymore. And a few things I wrote recipes for long ago. But if it's up to me to be eating it, I'm a cook, so I don't like to measure. Baking's not as fun because you measure a lot of things, and I prefer to eat savory. So that's where I get a library of savory dishes that are a mile high, and then my sweet dishes are about 35 deep. I'm getting better. As I get older, I think my sweet tooth is changing. And I think, too, because when I was pregnant with both of my girls, I kind of got into a little bit of a sweet tooth with them that I didn't do with my boys. I don't know if that's a difference of girls and boys, but during those seasons, I did eat a little bit more sweet, and that has added to my repertoire. I remember back, it's so funny because my boys are so much older than my girls. My boys are 22 and 20, and my girls are 6 and 4. So when I was pregnant with my boys, I really don't remember having cravings as much. I just remember being hungry all the time. I did have a Taco Bell menu item that I liked when I was pregnant with our firstborn. And we laugh at it when we see a commercial for it these days because it's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe how much of those I ate. But with the girls, I really was like, with our oldest girl, I always would eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich while I was in the kitchen cooking dinner. And then with our youngest girl, I really craved granola all the time. Like, my mom makes homemade granola, and so I make homemade granola now, and I would eat granola all the time. Granola and hot dogs. Not at the same time, but those are the things that I craved. True story. Okay, so my nachos are built like that. We're going to take some remaining sharp cheddar and get a little bit all across these. And then we're going to get some mozzarella on top. Anytime that you go to the store and you buy cheese in a block or a brick, you can come home and grate it all at the same time and just keep it on hand. Just like when you come home from the grocery store, you can wash your produce and have that step taken care of for you. It's just one of those things, like if you get into a rhythm to do it, it's going to help you out in the end. I'm making sure that my white cheese is on the top because we are going to go for Christmas looking appeal with our eyes. So that's why I did the white cheese on the top. And again, Monterey Jack works for this really well. Or you can do a Colby Jack that has the orange and the white in it. Okay, and the last thing that's going to go on these before they hit the oven is some pickled jalapenos. Now, I do what I call Christmas peppers in our house. We give those as gifts, and it's the peppers we grow. And I do a blend of red and green. That would be really pretty on here. But I've got all those bagged up to give to people. So we're going to go with green, and then our red's going to come from our tomatoes. So we're just going to get these. These are not terribly spicy. Pickled jalapenos typically are a lot more tame than your jalapeno that you're going to grab straight off of the vine or out of your produce department. And you can even buy them labeled mild jalapenos, so you don't have to have the heat at all to have the effect and the flavor, the visual effect and the flavor of the jalapenos. I put 4 or 5 on each one, and if you have somebody in your house that does not do the jalapenos at all, you can absolutely get some green from green onions as garnish, but we're going to also have some lettuce on top of here too. So we will have green, do not worry. The red and the green will be present. All right, now again, my oven is still at 400 degrees. My sliders have been in for a few minutes. These are going to go about 8 to 10 minutes till the cheese is totally melty. They start to kind of crisp up on the edges, and everything has just gotten married together and ooey gooey. All right, in this goes, and then we'll be ready to start on our Christmas salad. This is going so easily. I can't believe how close we are to the finish line. Now, Christmas salad is almost exactly like what it says. It's Christmas salad. So really, we're chopping and dropping into our big bowl here. I'm not quite ready for my bowl. I'm going to start by making a little bit of dressing first. So for my dressing, because I like for it to be marrying together, I've got a few basic ingredients that you will always have on hand in your house. And when you see how easy it is to make a dressing from scratch, you may never go back again. So I've just got some dried herbs. I'm going to use basil today. I've got some garlic, some stone ground mustard, some red wine vinegar, and some olive oil, salt and pepper, and that's all you have to have. It's so easy. You already have everything in your pantry, I promise. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to go in is a tablespoon of stone ground mustard. You can also use Dijon here if you would like to. And I'm going to eyeball that because what do I not eyeball? A tablespoon of garlic. And this is minced garlic in the jar. Get this. If you don't have any shortcut ingredients on your hand, get this as a shortcut ingredient. Promise. You'll thank me later. Then I'm going to go in with a teaspoon of basil. You can use thyme, you can use Italian seasoning, you could even use oregano in this. If I'm making it Greek style-ish with the feta, I always use oregano, just FYI. And then I'm going to go ahead and do my salt and pepper. A good teaspoon pinch of salt. Get my lid back on. And about 10 to 20 cracks of fresh black pepper, or a half teaspoon. Whenever I use the fresh cracked black pepper, you just really know the difference. So I try to do this as often as possible. Sometimes something calls for enough pepper that I'm not willing to put in the effort, but that's on me. That's on me. Okay, so I'm going to go in with about 1/4 cup of red wine vinegar. And easy peasy, this is about to come together. I'm going to stream in a little bit of olive oil, and I'm going to mix while I stream it in because that helps with what's called the emulsifying of the dressing. If you make this in a mason jar, you could actually just pour everything in and shake it together like you mean it, and it'll be perfect every time. You could also use a white wine vinegar in here instead of red wine vinegar, or you could even use the juice of a couple of lemons for your acid. But the components of a dressing never change. There's an acid, there's an oil, and then there's a binder like our mustard and seasonings every single time. Okay? So our dressing is ready. And the reason I had to do that first is here is the method for building your salad. we start with our big bowl. And this is a white bowl because I want the Christmas salad to pop. Your dressing, I'm not going to use all of it, but most of it is going to go in the bottom of your bowl. The reason that we're going to do that is if you're taking this somewhere, you're not going to want to toss it before you get there. You want your dressing and your salad to stay separate so it doesn't get wilted. And putting your dressing in the bottom of the bowl, then building your salad on the top makes that the perfect way to transfer it from place to place. Or if you're just staying home and you want to make this and not serve it yet because you're prepping a million different things, this is the method that you're going to use. Now, I typically, growing up, was somebody that would put salad dressing on top of my salad, personal, individual salad, and toss it together. But I have since been educated. My husband's mom is married to a wonderful Italian man. He is a wonderful grandpa to our kids. He's a wonderful dad to my husband, and he does the Italian thing the way that it's supposed to be. And apparently you don't dress your salad individually on top. You dress it all at the same time, and then you serve it to yourself. So it's kind of like the way Italians are about dressing their spaghetti or their pasta. There's no putting it on the top. You're going to go ahead and go all the way for it and dress all your pasta with all your sauce. So FYI, I've learned that from my father-in-law and my sister-in-law, who is actually Italian as well. So my brother's wife. I'm going to take my romaine and I'm just going to quarter it through long ways. And this is going to be a really chopped salad. I love all the components in here to be nice and bite-sized, because it's really easy for everything to get into your mouth at the same time and really evenly mixed together, so your bites aren't going to all be different. Or even better, if you wanted to take an extra step and get some of those little festive phyllo cups, chopping it this small lets you fill up little individual phyllo cups if you wanted to do that and serve that extra festive style on your buffet. All right. In that case, you would have a lot of phyllo cups and probably some extra salad, just FYI. But that's no problem for us. We love this salad, so extra salad means more for us. Okay. I'm going to go on top with my romaine. I'm going to chop a second head of romaine. Half of it's going to go on here, and then we're going to keep half of it to put on top of our, probably not all of half, but more of it to keep on top of our tostadas. So actually, I'm going to turn my board so I can have a little better eyeball, give you a little better eyeball about what you're seeing. Turn that around. Have y'all ever noticed, if this isn't your first episode, have y'all ever noticed these little burn marks on the edge of my board? My husband makes my cutting boards. He always makes my cutting boards. I can't remember the last time I bought one. I think he did. He bought me one really early in our marriage. And then since then, he's always just made me my cutting boards. But he's become a wood craftsman since then. I got it too close to my gas stove. It's the truth. I got it too close to my gas stove, and that happened. But it's still a really good cutting board. I think that's a Japanese style where like you burn wood to make it pretty or something. I used to watch a lot of HGTV. I don't have time for that anymore, but I used to know what that was called. I saw some people do it on one of those home improvement shows. This is another funny story that just came to mind while I'm chopping lettuce. We actually built a long time ago, probably 8 or 9 years ago, my husband built my mother-in-law and father-in-law a garden, a raised bed garden. And it was like a tiered garden because they live in the mountains, and it was all wood, all surrounding in this beautiful wood. And then one day we were like, it was wintertime, and we would clean our ashes out of the fireplace, and ashes are supposed to be really good for the soil. We did not realize that the ashes still had a little bit of live fire in them, and we went to go somewhere. He had dumped the ashes in the garden, and I looked back over my shoulder, and there was this of smoke, and he set that whole raised bed garden on fire. So that wood raised bed garden is still there with whatever that effect is of the black burning of the wood, and it's still perfectly functional. We got it out in no time. Didn't have to call the fire department, but we had to move quickly and get the hose pipe on it. Oh, the things we have done in our 22 years plus of marriage. Okay, I'm going to save this to the side for my nachos, and I'm going to keep building on top of this. So my red is going to come from 2 places. I've got some yummy vine ripe tomatoes, 3 actually, if you're counting with me. Got some cranberries and bacon. Told you I've got the savory thing going. This is pre-cooked crumbled bacon. If you wanted to do like just 4 or 5 slices of bacon in your skillet, but like I said, this is shortcut and we're going to do it all the way. So I'm going to put a couple of little handfuls of bacon, about half a cup or a cup. I mean, be liberal as you would like with your bacon. You have my permission. And then I'm going to go in with about 1/4 of a cup of cranberries. Again, this is your preference. And I love the variation of reds in here. It just is so festive. And then I'm going to go in with some white cheese. Again, I said this could be feta. This could be Monterey Jack, but we've got mozzarella today. Going with the Italian theme. About 1/2 cup of cheese. And I'm going to slice some tomatoes. And I do have some onions. That's white going in there as well. My garbage bowl has migrated all the way down here. Go ahead and get some onions in here. I'm going to save some of these for our tostadas. And speaking of our tostadas, I need to check on them real quick before I get to chopping on my tomatoes. Ah, yes. I'm going to pull out my sliders because they've gone for about 15 minutes too. So they're going to be ooey and gooey and delicious. Make some room for myself over here. Now my sliders, like I said, that was an 8-minute maybe. I'm going to move them. They've been on the bottom rack. I'm going to put them on the top rack because I want a little bit more golden color on my cheese and they'll be ready. My sliders are smelling amazing though. My tostadas is what needed another minute. Can't remember if that's actually what I said or not. Okay, so my tomatoes, we're going to get sliced. And anytime that you are going shopping in the winter for tomatoes, you want to make sure that you get the most true to color tomatoes that you can find. If they're light red in color, they're probably not going to have a lot of flavor. So I like this time of year to either buy cherry tomatoes or these tomatoes on the vine like I had today. Or there's also a tomato that you can find sometimes in certain grocery stores called a Kumato. It starts with a K. I think it's Kumato, Kumato. And they're a little bit purpley. But they have great, great flavor all year long. And they just, I don't know where a purple tomato came from, but I'm glad it's here. There's also a variety called Campari that's a little bit smaller, and it really packs a punch. If you're looking for tomatoes in the off season, chances are the smaller your tomato is, the better flavor it's going to have. I probably won't need all of this, but we're going to go in there anyway. I may have gotten a little ahead of myself, but we are going to use half of these tomatoes for our topping of our tostadas. And the ones that we're using for that, I'm getting a little tiny bit smaller. Rule of thumb, if you ever have your knife out and you're chopping tomatoes and it goes to chop your tomato and it crushes the skin, it's time to sharpen your knife. And if you've sharpened your knife and it can't get sharpened anymore, it's time for a new knife. So that's why I always leave the link for my knives that I recommend underneath in the description. And I also tell people, because a dear friend confided in me one time, I said that, she heard me say it, her daughter is actually one of my students that I teach live every week. I said, if you have had your knife for over 5 years, it's probably time for a new one. And she said, oh my gosh, Lauren, I've had my knife for 18 years. I said, honey, yes, it is. Carrie, it's time for a new knife. So immediately she went and ordered a knife, and now that whole family is chopping like they're supposed to. So I'm going to leave half of those for our tostadas right there and get some beautiful red tomatoes on top here. I mean, look how festive that's going. Okay, the last thing that I'm going to do on my salad before it's ready to serve is I'm going to season the top. You always put salt and pepper on the vegetables themselves. So I just get some salt because they need that help. You can absolutely add cucumbers too in here if you would like to. But I get some salt and some fresh cracked black pepper. And I've got some pepperoncinis for garnish. Because what is more festive than some beautiful green pepperoncinis? So I'm just going to toss this all together because we're almost at the home stretch. This salad is going to fly off the buffet. I promise. It sounds strange, I know, for a salad to be popular. But this happened just a few years ago. my husband's cousin Catherine, she made a salad at Christmas time, and I think she did basically this recipe, but she did it with kale. So she marinated ahead of time, and it was gone in no time. So you'd be surprised by the time you get to Christmas Eve, people do want a little bit of a fresh something on the buffet. So this could be a side or an appetizer. I would say call it what it is. It's delicious. And then some pepperoncinis all around. Christmas salad is coming together. I also think these pepperoncinis look like little elf hats. So that's why they need to have a place in our Christmas salad. Now, that is done, and it is absolutely gorgeous. Okay, we're going to put that to the side for just a second so we can get working on our tostadas. Now, I've got a Christmas platter here. You can use any big plate or tray that you've got. I try to get festive as best I can because we can get so busy, it's easy to just throw stuff out there and not try to make the presentation great. But I've got all these dishes. I might as well use them at some point. There's been a couple years, I've got Christmas china, and there's been a couple years my husband's just looked at me. He's like, we're not getting out the china this year, are we? And I'm like, we haven't every year, but we did get it out this year. I've got, actually, y'all can be looking forward to this. I've got a special Advent episode coming out soon, and we're going to use the Christmas china for that. We're going to do some spaghetti and meatballs with some dear friends of ours, so be looking for that. Now, my tostadas are done. I'm going to wipe up my board just a little bit because I've got some tomato juice, and they're very crispy. But because the beans are on there, my tostada shell in the center has gotten a little bit pliable. So I'm just going to take them and cut them in half. I probably should do that with a spatula instead of my hands. Normal people would have burnt their hands just now. We're going to pretend that I'm normal and use a spatula. And so I'm just going to cut these in half and get them onto my platter, and then we're going to decorate them from there. Do 4 at a time because of the space I'm working with. Get my knife. And the reason I'm cutting these in half is just because that's a better appetizer size. A little goes a long way in the appetizer department. You don't want to have all of one thing and not have room for another. So just going to cut these in half. Use my knife to transfer them onto our tray. And face them all in the same direction. Did I get all the way through? No, I got to go again on that one. If you're cutting that, just rock your knife back and forth and it'll do exactly what you want it to. Y'all, not gonna lie, this is one of my favorite smells. This takes me straight to a Mexican restaurant where you're just chowing down on appetizers. I love it. All right, couple more. We'll be ready to build them. These will probably be a favorite among the guys. I'm just going to warn you. They'll probably go really fast and be a favorite among the men. And they just get topped with red, green, and white. We're going to go lettuce first. And you can be as generous as you would like to be, but I still like to see through to the nacho itself. Then some tomato. And just like our salad, we're not moving on from our veggies until we have seasoned them as well. And I can't wait to uncover those sliders in a minute. All right, and then some onion. Not gonna lie either, this and the sliders would be a fantastic football party setup. All right, and there's our platter of nachos. Let's season these veggies so they taste the full amount like themselves. That's the way I describe using salt for things. You don't really taste the salt, you just taste the food as its true full version of itself. It's almost like when you ask Jesus into your heart, you become the true best version of yourself when you let him take the lead. That's what he's salt to your life. That's what salt is to the vegetables. Crack that black pepper. And those are good to go. Okay, I'm going to clean this up just a little bit, and we're going to get our sliders out of the oven, or out over here onto our platter, I mean. Move this out of the way. I may have made a little bit of a lettuce mess. Good thing I can clean up if I have to. Get my garbage bowl a little bit closer over here now. Get all of this straightened up. I'm telling you, whenever I do these episodes and I do all of this prep, and it's really middle of the day here, my family gets so excited to see when I come upstairs with whatever I've cooked. Sometimes I tell them ahead of time, and a few of them have gotten to the point where they ask, and then sometimes it's just a surprise. My girls usually act like they've won the lottery, especially when it's stuff like this. Okay, so we're ready to look at our sliders. I'm going to put my salad back on my table so we can have everybody, and I'm going to get some plates for my sliders. I always do love some blue at Christmas time. Oops, I love some blue at Christmas time. It just reminds me of almost the blue and white and silver wintry look. I love those too. Or Hanukkah. That goes there, and then I'll get my sliders out. Now with your sliders, you're going to want to slice them in the pan before you move them to the plate. So I'm going to go ahead and get them sliced right here. Go ahead and wipe off my knife just a little bit because it's got some tostada action on there. So I'm going to go through and cut them just like this. Y'all may never do barbecue chicken the same again after you've tasted it like this. Call it barbecue fried chicken. Ooh, barbecue fried chicken. I may have just said something right then. All right, then I'm going to need my spatula again. All right, we're going to bring these over here and get them on some plates. Push this out of the way just a little bit. Now, if you're taking this, the reason I say this, if you're taking this to somewhere and it needs to be reheated a little bit more, just pop it right back in the oven for about 10 minutes on 350 and you'll be just fine. I would just say leave the foil on it until time to go. Look at that slider. Tell me that does not look like ooey gooey deliciousness. These, like I said, would be perfect for game day. I have also had people request that I bring these to them after having a baby. That's a good thing to bring, especially people that already have small children. This is a great dish for that. I'll put some over here. We'll say 3 or 4 per little plate and we'll be in business. Y'all. Just the caramelized onions combined with the gooey cheese and the barbecue sauce. I might have to sneak a taste. Great googly moogly, it's amazing. If I do say so myself. I like this way better, I have to be honest. The original way was not fried chicken, it was rotisserie chicken. And this is so much better. Okay, like I always say to you, if you ever want to join me in Mama Witten's kitchen as a culinary student, it would make the perfect Christmas gift. All you have to do is find the link down there. It's my school community. I teach live every single week. I have a huge library of recorded lessons. Everything I've ever taught is recorded and it lives in there. But I also have lessons live every single week where I teach and you can interact with me, ask me questions. I have students that range in age from 12 to 74, almost 75. And we just have a really good time. I have families that come in and sit and take those classes with me. But I also have a shortcut supper cookbook. If you would like to get my shortcut suppers and have those on hand with recipe guides, grocery lists, and my written recipes, it even has the equipment that you're going to use and my tips and tricks written out for you. You can have that on your phone or printed. That is also going to be linked down there, as well as the Pantry Staple Guide to get your pantry stocked up. So I want to tell you guys, I'm so thankful that you're all here with me. We'll do another one of these next week. And until then, Merry Christmas and happy cooking, y'all. Time for me to eat. See y'all later.